I wanted to come back and give you guys an update. The semester is officially over. I'm so excited for that. It's nice to have a little break, to come home, even with working, like to come home and not have anything that you really have to do, or not having to run back out to school. So it's nice to have a little break. I feel like this is kind of just what I needed to get me back in gear before the semester starts back over in January. But I wanted to come and just kind of give you guys an update on the second half of my semester. Midterms were interesting, actually, because they gave me a little bit of what to expect. And man, I'll say this, time on a midterm is flying. You have 50 minutes. We have 50 minutes to complete our midterm, and that time was flying. I felt like, you know, there was so much more I could have said, but just don't have time to. We had, both my midterms had about 10 multiple choice. I think one had a little less than 10. To about 10 multiple choice questions and 2 essay questions. And the essays are really, I think, where the bulk of your points come from. And so you want to kind of get in as much as you can in that essay portion, but time is just flying. So if you are going into law school or you're considering it, just know, if you have midterms, I know some universities don't have midterms, and our professors, I believe that our midterms only count if it helps us. And so essentially the midterm is more like a practice test, an official practice test. And so in terms of final grades, if your midterm would help you on the final, then I think it's incorporated. But if it hurts you, then they leave it out and they just use your final as your grade. And so in law school, you really have one grade that kind of determines everything. I am a full-time employee and 3/4 time law student. So I'm taking 3 classes a semester, but then I take 2 in the summer. So essentially I have 24 credits, about 24 credits at the end of the first year. And so instead of a 3-year program, it becomes a 4-year program, 3.5-year, 4-year program. So what can I say? We don't have grades out yet, but how do I feel? I mean, I'm definitely glad to be done and to have a break. Law school's stressful. I mean, I found that, you know, much of the semester I was feeling like, at least the first half of the semester, I was like, oh, I got this. You know, it's time, it's work, it's energy, but I got this. And the second half of the semester, I felt like warped by. I looked up and I'm like, oh my God, we're done, you know. And I haven't looked at the dates. Maybe it is the same each half, right? But the second half of the semester felt like it went by so much faster. And so you find yourself preparing for the final. It felt like much sooner, right? And so we had about a week and a half to prepare for finals. One of the things that I found that I really had to do, just working full-time and going to school in the evenings, is that our university gives us access to Barberie. Right now we only have access to the first year classes because we're 1L students, but they have lectures on there. They actually have lots of stuff. They have lectures, they have tests, they have outlines, but the lectures you can access either from a computer or from the app. And so I found that I would turn that on when I'm driving to work, when I'm coming home, if I'm walking. I work at a university, a different university, and so if I'm walking to places on campus, I would just turn that on and let that information sink into me, if that makes sense. I definitely am a person who has to write, so I made flashcards and I redid my outline. I made my own outline. I looked at others, but then I tested myself by making my own outline from what I knew, and then used another outline to kind of fill in the gaps. So that was helpful for me. Creating flashcards was really helpful for me. Practice tests, man, practice tests are huge. The other thing I will say that was really, really huge for me was supplements. And so one of my professors, actually both of my professors, so I had 3 classes. One was a writing class, which we had a paper due kind of right before Thanksgiving, our final paper. And so that was it. And once I was done with that class, then I could focus on my other 2 classes, which was torts and civil procedures. And my professors for those teach very differently. But I found that it was essential for me to have a supplement to go back and kind of pull out from what we discussed in class what I really should be focusing on. The supplement kind of organizes things for you. It gives you the rule. It explains the rule. It breaks it down. It also, the supplements I used gave me practice examples, practice questions. So that was really helpful for me as I was kind of going through trying to absorb the material, trying to make sure I learned the material. At the end of the semester, I felt like I knew how to apply the material, but I struggled with exact terminology. And in law school, you need to be as close to that rule as possible. The closer you are to the exact terminology, the better. You can apply the rule, and that's key. That's key to know how to apply the rule and know how to apply it in a situation, but you need to also have that language. So the flashcards were huge for me in trying to memorize the rule. But, you know, I'm excited. I'm still excited about law school. I think I'm going to be honest. Those last 2 weeks, I was somebody else. Like, my family knew that this person that you are coming in contact with every day is not normal Tish, right? I kind of turned into somebody else. And, you know, I hear people say it. I hear people say law school is stressful and law school will, you know, you separate yourself and you have to distance yourself from people and you won't be as involved, right? And I was kind of like, I can still do that. You know, I'm going to show them that I can still be involved. And while I do think it's important to have some balance to your life, right? Especially if you're working, you have a family, you have children, and then you're also going to school, you're restricted in your time, right? You have less time, but it's still important to find the balance for those things, you know, to spend time with your spouse, your significant other, to spend time with your children, to, you know, talk to your family. And dedicate just some time to that. It's probably not going to be what it was before, right? You are going to have to cut back. You do give up some things for law school, and that's the truth of it. But I think it is important to find a little bit of balance and, you know, help the people that are in your life understand that this thing that I'm going through is real and it's hard and it's stressful and it's frustrating. And, you know, while I might turn into somebody else for a few weeks, just know that is just, you know, my way of dealing with my situation. Everybody handles it a little bit different. I know I became somebody else. I had to give apologies. I had to. But, you know, some of the things I think that I really learned is preparing a little bit throughout the semester. It's hard. I thought it was hard to review the material because I was thinking, I don't know everything yet. I gotta wait until the end until I understand everything and then I can review. When really, if you just spend a little bit of time reviewing kind of what you went over in class, you know, start to make your little flashcards, focus on just that little area. It will help you in the long term when it comes time for finals. Supplements are key. I use examples and explanations, and I use another one called questions and answers. I found examples and explanations to be much more in line with the things that my professor talked about. Questions and answers was good, but sometimes I would run into things that I was like, my professor hasn't even covered this yet, or my professor didn't really focus on that. So for me, I found, at least with these 2 classes, the examples and explanations were pretty much spot on with what my professor was covering. Our professor also gave us, probably about halfway through, a link that I think was tied to the book, to one of our books, that they were testing. They were doing some kind of beta testing, and so it was practice questions. And so I did those. I found those to be helpful. I found even some of those or similar situations to show up on my exams. So it may not have been the same question word for word, but the more practice questions you do, the more comfortable you become with the material, and you'll recognize those same scenarios from that are on your exam from things that you talked about in class, or things that you've seen in other practice examples. So I don't want this video to go too long, but I just wanted to give you guys an update. The semester is officially over. Your girl has finished her first semester of law school, and I'm excited. It's challenging, you know, but I'm excited. I'm excited for this journey. I'm excited for what's to come. And I definitely say, if you are considering it, you know, just really talk to as many people as you can. I'm new at this, right? So I'm not an attorney. I'm just starting out, so I can only give you my experience on kind of as I go through this journey. But talk to as many people as you can. Talk to attorneys. Law school is not a cheap adventure. It's an expense, you know, as all education is, but it's an expense, and it's a lot of time and a lot of hard work. But if it's something that you want to do, it's doable. You can do it. So just, you know, just keep pushing. Thank you guys for kind of sticking with me and rocking out with me throughout this journey. This is brand new for me. You know, thank you for all the support that I've received. I've had a few people say, hey, where's your update? You know, so I appreciate that as well, and I'm gonna keep them coming. I hope everybody has a nice Christmas, Happy New Year, to everything that you celebrate, and Happy 2018, right?